came out with the Niro back about 5 or 6 years ago, and it provided a lot of value and a lot of cool features in both the hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and full electric sphere. The problem was with the Niro is it was ugly. Kia has fixed that though for 2023 with the updated Niro. Still available in all 3 flavors, hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and full electric. The new Niro looks so much better, has longer range in both plug-in hybrid and full electric models. It's a little bit larger, provides a ton more features, and a much nicer interior. So at this point, there's really very few reasons not to buy a Kia Niro, but we'll go through what some of them might be. So today we've got a little bit of an opportunity to see these cars in studio. There's still a little bit of information we don't quite have yet. We don't know pricing. To be honest, Kia doesn't even know pricing yet at this point. We're not going to get behind the wheel. This is all going to be static, but rest assured we'll get into the new Niro as soon as we can, get it out on the road, see how it drives, test it out, all our good things. Starting off right here, we have the middle child, the plug-in hybrid. It's going to be the right sort of model for a very key user, someone who might have a medium to moderate commute, especially if you can charge at your place of work. You're going to get about 33 miles of electric range, although if you opt for these larger 18-inch wheels, it's going to drop down to 31. And then you can drive it like a normal car. You can fill it up, drive it like a hybrid. It's still going to be pretty darn efficient. Probably going to cost a little bit more than the base hybrid model. So you're really going to have to crunch the numbers to see if getting the plug-in hybrid model is going to outweigh the cost after a while of paying more upfront for it. But certain people like the plug-in hybrids, and for you, they still make it. We'll start off here talking about design because they all pretty much look the same. We'll point out some of the little differences, but super cool headlights, so much better, very unconventional. I even kind of thought it looks like kind of an early 20-teens Audi R8, not R8, A8, Audi A8. And that's just kind of because of this heartbeat DRL design here. But the car doesn't go too far to be like a robot or anything like that. Still has a little bit of that human kind of character to it with the headlights, but just looks so much sharper. You've obviously got the new Kia badge and smart grille. It is large, but it's still kind of built in with the front of the car. It doesn't look awful like the BMW M4 does. You've got your plug-in port over here for charging up the car, and then you've got fuel on the back right. The car actually back left, it's back there. Some little, check out these little turn signal things. Let's see if let's turn that. It's kind of cool. They're really doing some cool stuff with the DRLs in these cars. And then coming around to the back, this is what a lot of people are going to notice with the new Niro, is what they call this aero blade. It's essentially, it's a design piece, but it's also functional. So it kind of works similar to how a spoiler would on the back of the car. This is actually helping provide stability, efficiency. It works with the car, but it also just kind of helps it stand apart, and it's kind of neat. I like it. You can get it in a few different colors. We'll show you what the other option is here in a minute. Then you have your gas flap, which would open up if you unlocked it inside. Coming on back, these DRL elements, these brake lights. Chris, kind of come in close here. You sort of got like a sparkly element in there. That's not too new, but it really just kind of helps make the car pop. And almost kind of like Cadillac SRX look in the back here with some of these. Popping this open. Interesting that the turn signals are really down low like that. I don't particularly care for that because I think it's going to be a little bit harder. The whole point of a turn signal should be for people to see it as they're driving on the road, and a little concerning to me that it's going to be so low. So some person driving their Chevy Equinox or their big Tahoe 6 feet in the air are not going to see those, but mild complaint. The plug-in hybrid version, you still get a nice flat load floor, and, well, actually not in this one. I'll show you in the other model though. You can actually adjust the floor height. You do get some tie downs right here. Some people are going to appreciate that, and a fairly flat load surface. So if I actually take this little thing off here, kind of pop it out of the way. Kia always does a good job with various nets and cargo covers. Fold this flat, and then you see you've got a nice flat load surface. And that's what appeals to me about the Niro, and always kind of has, is the fact that you sort of have this compact station wagon-y design that really is pretty darn practical and doesn't sacrifice too much practicality just for the sake of appearance or design or anything like that. It might be a bit boring for some of those type of people who like to buy things like first generation BMW X6s, but we don't really respect those people, so you should just buy a Niro instead. Another thing is, if you really don't care for using this as a standard cargo cover, there's a few cool things you can do. You can actually twist it real quick and easy like that, fold it up, put it away, becomes remarkably compact. You could toss it under there, stow it, and then if you're going to a seedy area, like maybe Detroit, you can pull this back out, cover up your cargo area so that people are less likely to break in and steal your things. And another thing you can do with it is actually take it and stuff it up into the rear window. I might not be doing it quite proper, but you sort of get the idea that then you can close this, wait for it to close, and then you sort of have a cover right there for either sun or, again, letting people not view the back of your car. It's kind of a neat little thing that you can do with that. Now let's head around to the back seat, which is also pretty darn cool in the Niro, and kind of goes, again, toward why you might want to consider something like this versus a crossover like everyone's buying. I mean, yeah, it's kind of crossovery, but it's different. That's because you get in, me as a 5'10" adult, check out this room I have. This seat is actually all the way back right now because it powers back when the car is off. But even with it all the way back, I've got a remarkable amount of knee room. I have headroom. Chris and I sat back here earlier and none of our elbows were bumping against with the center console. In the inside, you see all this knee room. A little bit drab in here, but various mixture of grays and blacks and kind of a tan headliner. Now, Chris, you in general don't like black bottom top tan headliner, do you?
Tan headliners?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But they're excusable if they make the interior feel more open and airy.
Do you think this makes the interior feel more open and airy? Let's get the airy perspective from Mr. Chris. But I appreciate it because I do generally find, outside of luxury sedans, it does kind of help add a brighter. I mean, we're obviously inside a building right now, but
I think it's acceptable in this car because of the light nature of the interior as well, like the seat inserts and some of the other materials in here. Some of the EV over there, which we'll get to in a second, that one's got a much lighter colored interior. I think it matches well in there.
Okay.
But in here with this gray and the lighter inserts, I think it's all right.
So don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, it is excusable.
And it's made out of recycled wallpaper.
Right, not just any paper.
No.
This is made of wallpaper.
Yeah, so if you live in Birmingham in England, be careful the Kia engineers, they come into your house, they rip your wallpaper off and they put it on the ceiling of the new Niro.
Directly. It's like paper mache, really.
Yeah.
They glue it on
in
strips.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Something we've sort of learned today from a colleague with these seats is this can actually sort of function as a handle for getting in and out.
Me to demonstrate?
Yeah, so say you're very sloppy drunk.
I'll make like the old man noise, right?
Yeah, yep. And you can sort of lower yourself into the seat and right back out as well. You can kind of boost yourself. You can launch yourself back into the real world out of being in the Niro. It's such a good amount of space though. Think about like a rear-facing car seat. You're gonna have so much room and so much door clearance to get it in and out. Very good there.
Angled back to be putting the seat in.
Oh, like you have to lean down, you mean?
Which parents hate.
Ah, you would know.
My uncle had a Maserati Quattroporte, and when his son was born, he bought a Range Rover Sport. And I said, "Why did you do that?" He said, "Well, I didn't want to bend down to put the car seat in."
So you heard it here first. Niro and Maserati Quattroporte,
Right.
Same downsides. Yep. You would think that there are no power ports here, but you'd be incorrect because they are found on the seats. You have Type C's right there, and a 150 watt wall style outlet right there. Very nice to see, and air vents. All good things. And look at that, 2-stage heated seats. Very good place to be back here. To the front, you do have your Ford Econoline style steering wheel, which Chris and I both agree is nice.
I like
Had it in
that.
EV6. Yes.
I like the drive mode location.
Although it is a bit like a mole because it's not symmetrical.
That's okay.
Yeah? Birthmarks are okay?
It's better than the stupid button that Lincoln puts up here.
Oh, that you accidentally press?
Yeah, right.
For the one time you ever actually want to use voice command? Yeah.
This works for me. I like this design of the ambient lighting.
Yeah, I could see people really liking that.
It looks like a minimal amount of ambient lighting in here, though. We've got it here on the dash, here on your little dial shifter.
That's about it.
But other than that, I don't see anywhere else where it actually is.
Very modern Kia display and layout for everything. Nice gauge cluster. As you change drive modes, you're going to get different gauges.
I have a Charlie question for you.
Okay.
Is the font appropriate in the Niro? Is it too much of a grown-up car for the font, or does it fit the vibe?
I could go for a little bit classier font, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Part of it is part of being a journalist, if we're willing to call ourselves that, is recognizing when we're becoming too comfortable with the brand, and we've had a lot of Kias recently, so there's a comfort bias and a familiarity bias. No, I will still maintain that I'm not a big fan of the fonts on the Kias, but I guess I've gotten used to them. I'll admit it's a personal preference thing. What's not personal preference is how great these buttons are.
Yeah,
these.
They look great.
Very easy laid out. They're real buttons that you can actually press. Heated and cooled seats that cannot be done at the same time.
Oh, you're making it unhappy.
Yeah, it's discharging. Nice stop-start location, phone charger. Yep, you got that kind of dual function.
Oh, they do different bing bongs. So it's a high-pitched beep for the...
You can make a remix. Still have physical controls, at least for your climate and your volume, though, so that's good. We are rocking a Harman Kardon sound system in these higher models. We'll review that once we get it on the road. Extensions, so that's good.
Yeah.
No sunglasses holder.
That's okay.
Yeah. And no panoramic sunroof. I feel like some people are going to be a bit bummed by that, but I couldn't care less. Cool. Yeah, very functional car. Let's hop out and go check out the EV and the normal hybrid.
Cool.
That's the plug-in hybrid model, and admittedly, I suspect it'll be the least selling model. I think the more popular ones are over here. So over to the left, we've got the normal hybrid, still looking good, and then over here, you've got the EV. Let's move next to this. This kind of slots in as a more affordable electric vehicle option in Kia's lineup. Like I said, we don't really know pricing for this yet, but we can sort of extrapolate. We know it's going to be fairly similar to the current outgoing Niro EV, and it's not going to be more expensive than the base EV6. So you know it's going to be somewhere in there, but it actually gets you some things better than the base EV6. So you've got a larger battery pack and a larger estimated EPA range, 253 miles, so longer range than the outgoing Niro EV and than the base EV6. It's front-wheel drive as opposed to all-wheel drive, which I think is totally fine for 95% of drivers. I think the only thing cool about the rear-wheel drive aspect of the EV6 is that you could hang the rear end out with stability control off. Fun fact, I think I've done the largest front-wheel drive burnout ever in a Niro EV because it's open diff and you can just mat the throttle and then away it goes with one wheel.
And the Kona EV too.
Yes, Kona EV as well, and the Bolt, but I think the longest I ever did was the Niro. Yep. So this I'm not a huge fan of. On the EV model, the charge port is right in the front, and I do admit, very practical, very nice if you pull into your driveway or into a charging spot. You can get to it equally from either side, so I recognize its functionality, but I don't think it looks as good, especially in this white. Now you've got this sort of blemish here, whereas if we look at either of the other models, it's a nice uninterrupted front grille. So a small complaint, but a little complaint of mine nonetheless. You know what would be kind of cool, Chris? You remember the old Mustangs, like from the Top Gear episode where the fuel filler was directly in the center of the back? Someone should do an electric vehicle. The Mustang Mach-E should have had the charge port right in the back of the middle. Cool feature. Yeah, if anyone's watching, if you want to do a cool Ford, really, when you come out with the electric Mustang, you should put the charger port right in the back. That way, when you get rear end packed by a Chevy Tahoe who's not paying attention, that will be the first thing that needs to be replaced. Oh, look, that one's in rave mode over there. Like I said, 250 some miles of estimated range, decently affordable. You can get an optional heat pump on this, which I find very valuable. Being here in Michigan, it tends to get cold. You can still do the functions where you can charge things by plugging it into, like say you wanted to power something else, like camping equipment or tailgate equipment or a laptop or something like that. You can power it off the car with their V2L feature. Other than that, I'm just excited for this being an accessible electric vehicle for the masses. It should be priced pretty well, and we'll do another quick view of the interior. It's very similar to the one we were just in, but the interior is so much nicer than a lot of the other electric vehicle offerings at this price point. So when we're talking $40-some thousand or so, I mean, it's nice in here. It really is. Chris, how do you feel about gray steering wheels?
That's a very light gray.
It is a very light gray.
My only concern ever with light-colored steering wheels is that over time they just get built up gunk and
yes, like the tan steering wheel on my Escape.
Yeah,
is quite filthy, and my Town and Country was not great either.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a little bit lighter interior. I'm not a big fan of gray interiors in general, but so I just get myself black, not a big deal. I like the ambient lighting, I like the features, I like the layout. Very easy, straightforward, and functional. Come on into the trunk of the EV. we get to show you the faux floor option here. So you can see right now it drops down low, and you can get a little bit more cargo space. Say you wanted to try to fit a bicycle in here, something you might have better luck. But if you'd like to adjust that and actually get some of a underfloor compartment, you lift this up. And this isn't remarkably new. You can get this in a Chevy Bolt for a while, but kind of drop that in there. And then it's higher, and your side compartments right here have a little bit extra space. And then when you lift this up, you could put some things underneath it. So that's probably how I would typically run with it. And when you have it up in its higher position, then you get more of a flat load surface when you fold the rear seats. Interesting that there's a handle right here, even though it's powered. And lastly, if you're not into the electric vehicle lifestyle, if you just want something that's remarkably efficient, we're talking over 50 miles per gallon combined driving experience here, that's where you're going to want to go with the hybrid. And honestly, as much as I'm a fan of electric vehicles, I think this is probably the best option for a lot of owners. You never have to worry about charging. You never have to worry about range or anything like that. You just simply get in this, put in some regular 87 octane, and save money. It's a lot bigger than a Prius. It looks better than a Prius. I'll go as far as to say I think it looks better than the Ioniq. You know me, I'm a big fan of the Ioniq. Why would you not want to own this? I mean, it's practical for 4 adults, good amount of space. You could put a car seat in the back with a stroller in the trunk, all sorts of features. I mean, yeah, they're going to make a more base model where you're not getting quite as many features, but look at this nice black interior. Are these black seats, or is this like a dark gray? Looks like a dark gray. The lighting's not fantastic in here, but yeah. I'd be very happy to actually be in the interior of this car. One thing you should note real quick, big old shifter for some reason. You don't get the dial with the gasser, the hybrid model. It's kind of interesting they saved that for their electrics. But other than that, this is also a very nice place to be in here.
Best part of this car? It's green.
It is green,
and it's a very, very nice metallic green.
Yeah, and the camera here, it's almost coming up as gray, but this is a very subtle green.
If you get the camera close, you can see the metallic in there.
Okay. Yeah, I am a huge fan of green cars. I saw a dark green something yesterday on the road, and I was like, I like that very much. So I'm not gonna hide it, guys. I'm getting a phone call. I'm gonna be honest with you all. Not hiding it, very excited about the new Niro. I think it looks so much better, a little bit more EV range if you're going that route, a little bit more efficiency for the other ones. Great interior. I mean, there was really not enough people considered the previous generation Niro, and now I think this one has the looks both inside and out to really make it unignorable. So as long as Kia markets it well and people actually consider it, which is probably the hardest thing about selling this Niro, I think there's gonna be a lot of people very happy with it. So let us know what you'd like to see or know about the car when we get our hands on it fully. Shout out to Kia for letting us come and see this one in studio. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.